Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Chris and Ross, episode number 20. Yes, we are in the double digits, the 2.0. I'm super excited. Yeah, I know my co-host Ross Rawson III out here in Michigan. I'm out in California. Again, this podcast is designed solely for realtors, obviously, because Ross and I are in the real estate industry. We've had about 30 years combined history here with tons of talent, examples, knowledge, and wealth of ideas that we want to roll out to everybody. So hopefully this is valuable to those, but also we love really just catering to people who are like-minded individuals, forward thinkers, right? Kind of entrepreneur mindset. So hopefully all encompassing of all those people involved. We hope this is a value to you guys. Again, welcome to Real Talk with Chris and Ross. Welcome, Ross, my friend. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great today. It's a great day for a great day. How are you?
The same way. Great day for a great day. Grateful to be alive. You know what I say? We walk around the room and we ask everybody, what are you grateful for? And I say, I'm just grateful to be alive because, again, I always say every week, somebody did not wake up this morning on this planet, and I am. So I get one more shot, right?
Come on.
I get one more shot because today is the only thing we really can count on. Can't even count on tomorrow. So I'm going to say that I get another 24 hours to do things right.
Man, and as hallmarky and cheesy as it sounds, it's honest to God, it's the facts and it's the truth because we don't live in yesterday. We don't have tomorrow yet. It is really all today. And when we do wake up, I mean, man, there's so much to be thankful for. Mm-hmm. Another chance to get it right.
Right. Because we may have not gotten it right yesterday, but that's why it's also very advantageous to, I'd say, continue to be progressively getting better every day, right? Like if you can improve your life 1% every day, that's crazy, right? Like every day, like what I did yesterday, I will improve 1% today. And then tomorrow I'll improve 1% from yesterday, which by the end of the week, we're 7% better than we were on last week. It's amazing, right?
It's that compound.
It's that compound effect. But yeah, the reality is most of us don't even think in that fashion. We don't. Mm-hmm. We just wake up and just go on with our daily lives and like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And we actually, most of us probably just complain. I mean, right? Life sucks.
Or we set such a high mark for ourselves to hit that we don't just focus on the 1%. We focus on the 1,000%. We maybe get half of that, and then we feel like failures and retreat. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Unaccepted expectations, which unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
It really is.
That's a whole nother subject.
But listen, we got a great topic, and I want you to kind of jump into it because I know this is going to help a ton of people on this podcast, or at least I hope that it helps a ton of people on this podcast because, man, this is the meat and bones. This is the potatoes, man, the nuts and bolts. Okay, we got it right here.
I love it. Well, I think in truth, if it helped one person, I'd be grateful for one. If we could make an impact on one person's life that's listening to this, and hopefully those out there listening to it, this is value packed for them. And a lot of people, like I mentioned before, are very insecure and timid, maybe out of ego and pride, that just don't want to have conversations with things that are going on in their life right now. Yeah. And I think this is a time of us being extremely vulnerable and being open and human and allowing ourselves grace, knowing that we aren't perfect. We're not great. We're not, impervious to what's going on. And let's be honest, the entire economy right now is a shit show and everybody is being affected by it. Real estate, number one. I mean, every realtor across the board, last 18 months has been extremely challenging for every realtor. I don't care how long you've been in the business. I don't care if you get on this podcast, start blabbing off how you're great, whatever. You're affected by it in one way or another. It's just what it is, right? And so people are trying to figure out ways to just survive, stay afloat right now. And it's crazy because that goes on and just trickled effect to so many other areas in your life. And if you can't get your personal self together, then you're dead in the water. So
that's fact. Yeah. No, man. And it's a good point that you bring up because there kind of is that, mirage, or I don't even know, kind of like it's the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. But like you said, that all the agents were always so prone to have that smile on our face in sales and, everything's fine. And, market did this. And this is why you need to do this. And they're overselling this idea while they're really sometimes hurting inside because it's hard. Right. I mean, that's a big thing that we experience. And hey, you know what? It's okay. You can still be a top selling professional and go through a difficult season.
Oh, yeah. Because that just means you're human.
Right.
And but I will say as a shameless plug, our teams in Hawaii and stuff across the board, we have several people in different marketplaces. So I'd say there is exceptions to the rule right now. I say majority are struggling, but I'd say a lot of people on our team are doing great. Right. I mean,
heck yeah.
I mean, Hawaii's up on the big island with the number one market share, number one producer, out producing every brokerage on the island at this point. So there's some blessings and some good news there too. But I just want to get back to the basics and reality of where we're at. Like a lot of people talk about reaching your goals, reaching your dreams, following through your ambitions, make it to the top, reaching success. And why you're not doing it. I mean, you hear podcast after podcast and stream after stream or reel or video. People are being interviewed. Well, why did I not reach my goals? Why didn't I reach your dreams? What's really holding you back? Well, we know, right? They talk about the same things:
Hmm.
being relentless, being tenacious, being consistent, having a dream, having a belief system in yourself, all of these things, right? All of
Hmm.
those things are the reason why you ultimately do not reach your dreams, goals, and ambitions in what you want to do. But I believe those are just titles again of to why you're not reaching those. But I guess the better question is, why are you not that person of tenacity? Why are you not that person that is relentless? Why are you not that person that has a belief system in themselves or a value system or a belief in what they're doing in order to reach their goals, dreams, and ambitions? That'd be a better question,
Mm.
right? I mean, because if you can't figure out why you don't even have those qualities or those behavior patterns, because the behavior patterns are what ultimately going to get you to that level you want to be at, you should probably figure out what that is first.
Yeah.
And why? What's the root of it? Like really dig down deep, which requires a lot of personal development again. We talk about it every week, right, Ross?
Yeah.
Personal development, personal development, personal development. That is the key core foundational piece to you doing anything in this life. Anything,
Anything.
anything,
Yeah.
right? Being the best husband, the best wife, the best partner, the best father, the best mother, the best employer, the best employee, whatever. You cannot do that unless you really work on yourself and personal development, because that is the core to all of it.
For
So,
sure. And I feel, I want to add to that too, because, you know, yes, personal development matters. And yes, it is the cornerstone. And I believe the foundation to everything, right? Because if you're not good, you're not going to be able to give anything else back, right?
mhm,
You're just going to feel like you're down in the dumps. But I noticed too, and even in myself along the journey, and I'm sure you've experienced this too. But as you're going through the emotions of life, sometimes we just think that these things are supposed to just fall in our lap, like happiness, or oh, I'm just supposed to have these relentless characteristics, or oh, I just don't have them. But the truth is they can be gained through the effort, right? Like you can actually
mhm,
become happy by working on happiness. You can become relentless by working on being relentless. But it is not necessarily just a feeling or a thing that just gets dropped on you
mhm,
and you automatically become this, right?
right.
It's a becoming to it, right? And I think that's kind of, I know we're jumping into that, but I know for me that was a breaking
Yeah.
point in a lot of things, my relationships, my business, because how many times are we always told those hallmark phrases? Well, lead with your heart and trust your gut, and know your intuition. But the problem is like, well, if my own intuition's telling me that I'm relentless, but I'm not feeling relentless, well, then what do I do?
Mhm.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
my gut's telling me I'm successful and I'm supposed to be this great person and I'm leading with my heart, but I don't feel like I'm doing it. I don't feel like, and then we kind of fall short.
Mhm. Yep. It's a lack of buy-in. There's that separation of that gap, the bridge that doesn't bring those two pieces together, and it's the buy-in, the belief system of really truly believing. We can consciously say we believe it, but do we subconsciously really have it in us innately? Because that's where everything really stems from, is a subconscious fault, right? All of our past experiences and our journeys that we go through in our life that have molded us to be who we are today have all buried themselves in our subconscious cavity.
That's
And
right.
that actually is what drives us to determine whether we do believe ourselves, whether we are relentless, whether we are naturally, and it's not naturally. That's not a talent, actually. You're right. Talent is not like relentless is not a talent,
Yeah.
right? Like being able to dribble the ball and throw a 3-pointer like consistently, that's kind of talent. To
Hmm.
be able to throw a football 60 yards on point, on target to somebody, that's talent, right? That's talent. But talent only gets you so far.
That's
You
right.
have to build and, like you said, grow into the mental capacity to really buy in your belief system of wanting to really be relentless. And you have to have that desire, that passion. It's all like a one big wheel, right? It's got to be inclusive to that.
Absolutely.
But I guess the question, and this is my learning experience, because I can say first and foremost, for those that are listening out there, I'm on this podcast talking like I know it all, but I don't.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm learning. This is where I want to share with you. I want to share with you right now where I'm not showing up. I want to share with you where I'm not being that benchmark.
Come on.
And right. And for me, the personal development, I've done a lot. All those that are listening, I mean, I've been doing this 75 hard now. I'm 24 days into it. Tomorrow will be 25, which would be a
Let's
third,
go.
right? A third of the way into this bad boy. And it's opened up a big Pandora's box for my emotional and mental well-being right now, because it requires a lot of mental fortitude. It requires a lot of mental commitment that you or didn't obviously I didn't have.
Hmm.
And when that comes with that territory, you start to really open up other paths of like, holy shit, I've not been showing up this way either. Or, oh, God, look where I've been really falling behind in here. And now I know why I'm not reaching that point. Because you know what? It requires you, one of the things that requires you to do, if you're not doing this now, it makes you read a book 10 pages a day
Yeah.
in the 75 hard. If you're not an avid reader right now, shame on you, first off, because you are sitting yourself on the sidelines. You're the bench warmer for sure. Straight up. If you're not an avid reader, you know, and like the most successful people, entrepreneurs, are reading like 60 to 70 books a year.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of books. You know, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, Warren Buffett reads 6 hours a day.
Think about that.
Think about that. The
Yeah.
guy's doing nothing but inputting data into his brain. Do you think it's worth something? Shit. That guy's worth billions of dollars. Of course it is, right? He reaches levels of success that most of us think about and dream about. Why? Because he actually took the time to invest in himself.
That's right.
And became more knowledgeable. So, anyways, my point in saying that is, yeah, the course requires you to read 10 pages of book. And so doing so, which I already do anyways, because I do my savers every day, my miracle morning. And so it's part of my routine regardless. But it's just been an addition to it. And I'm reading books, more books, more books. And it's just opened up more Pandora's box. And I'm like yourself, huge Napoleon Hill fan.
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. And that other book you just said, who was the one you saying that you
Truthful Living.
Truthful Living.
Yep. Amazing book.
Amazing book. This third one I got right now is How to Own Your Own Mind, which I'm digesting into right now. And so I read an insert of it yesterday, which I want to share with you today, really changed the dynamic of understanding why I am where am I at and why I have not shown up in the way I should show up. And it has baffled me for so long. And I just went round and round with it. But now it's like, holy crap, this makes sense. This makes total sense. So it talked about a topic called social heredity.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Social heredity, basically, in a layman's version, it's basically the external influences that are put into our minds by various things: education, politics, social media, parents, family, friends, school, whatever we read, whatever we see on TV, right? It's being inputted into ourselves, and it's an external force, right? And at a young age of, I think between the age of 2 and 10, ultimately, I believe is your most vulnerableest point as a child, where you learn and soak up the most you can.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Your biggest learning curve in your life is probably between 2 and 10. And all that you absorb and take in externally that's put into you through those objects I talked about, right? Family, friends, politics, education, whatever. That's what sticks into us and creates the 40-year-old version of yourself, the 50-year-old version of myself. This is who we are today because of that experience that we had then. And there are 6 subjects that he actually, Napoleon Hill speaks on that were top 6 influences that really changed the trajectory of somebody ultimately in the end game. And the top number 1 was religion.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
As being an external influence in our life to help us create a belief system, right? Where we are a foundation to furthering the rest of our life and our behavior patterns. And so it was like, the reason why, kind of to set the stage here for those who are listening, I've actually had a very challenging childhood with a very extenuating circumstance in religion. Kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not even going to name the name of it because I don't think that's relevant. But the reality is I had experience that I did, which ultimately in my growing up experience, my parents were non-existent pretty much 100% of the time. I raised myself, and my external influence at the time that I had subject to myself was extreme. And it was not focused whatsoever on anything that was derived around being progressively better, influencing yourself financially, learning to value wealth, freedom, and finance, learning to understand how to strive and reach for your goals and work for things and stretch goals and just reaching for the stars and being better every day. None of that was ever implemented me externally at all. In fact, most of it, 99% of my stuff that was inputted into me at that age was, how do I even say this? It was more derived around biblical and religious type environment structure, if that makes sense, keeping it loosely. So And in that structure and environment, nothing in there was directed, relatively pointed to wealth, financial freedom, business, entrepreneurialism, growth, dreams, ambitions, drives, none of that stuff, none of that
Wow.
conversation. So, and in fact, in irony of it, one of the 6 subjects are though entrepreneurialism, business, profit, goals, dreams. That's like one of them, which was nothing I ever had input me, right? So,
Wow.
so I fast forward that and I look at my entire environment growing up.
Mm-hmm.
That was my beginning and end at that point.
Mm-hmm.
My social heredity has now put me into a place where now I am in my 50s and I am completely benchmarked and brainwashed or programmed, nothing whatsoever with the intention of driving myself to be an entrepreneur. My success up to this point, which I've done a lot of stuff comparatively to everybody else in my family,
Yeah, bro, you got a great, I mean, come on, very
right?
successful, and I mean to hear your story and to see where you're at today. Some people too, and we kind of talked about this where we smile our way through everything. Some people would be like, Chris, come on, man, you're the guy on stage and you're the guy with the huge organization. You've done all these things. There's no way that you're not hitting the benchmark that you're hitting, but you know in your heart that you're saying, hey, no, something's not 100%. I know I could be doing better. I know these areas of my life I could be filling up. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, right? I mean, on the outside looking in, I mean, even for me, just I've known you for a couple of years now, or going on a couple of years. It's like, dude, everyone would be like, man, Chris Akamara, come on, dude. This guy's crushing it. Right?
Yeah. Well, never say judge a book by its cover. Reality is
There
we
you
have no
go.
idea what's inside the book. But you're right. It's just not showing up. A
Mm,
lot of times you look at it, we're not showing up. We're not showing up like the way in which I should.
mm.
And this has really put myself to the test at the highest level possible because I'm now really with a fine telescope looking at myself more than I ever have before,
It's good,
ever,
bro.
and seeing things differently than I ever saw before. And so now I realize that it's a challenge for me to naturally be the person that I should be, to show up in the way I should, to reach the goals I should be, because that's not been my wiring. That was
Mm,
never my social heredity. It was never my external influence in my life ever. And so you wonder why you cannot be the person you are today. So I would challenge anybody right now that is listening. You need to go back and look and remember your childhood, maybe specifically from the ages of 2 to 7 or 2 to 10. And what was your external influence? What was your environment like? What was your childhood environment like? Where did you grow up and what were your examples? Where were you getting influences from? From outside sources, from church, from religion, from friends, from social media, from whatever it is you were growing up in. What was your influence? Because that is considered your social heredity.
mm.
And that is what banks and solidifies in your mind who you will be. You got to realize that, people. That is who you are. And
Wow.
if your social heredity was not exposed to the levels in which now you're trying to be in
Mhm,
your older life, you now wonder why you're not going to reach that.
mm.
And no matter what you do, no matter how many training seminars you go to, no matter how many books and courses you pay for, thousands of dollars you're going to waste in money, hours of exerting yourself thinking that I just got to work harder. I just got to work harder. I just got to work harder. I got to be more consistent. Yes, you do. I'm not saying that's not true,
Mhm.
but you will never really 100% buy into the fact of why you want to show up. It will
Mhm.
never be a passion. It will never be the main hub of why you're doing what you're doing because it was never your social heredity. It was never ingrained in you to be that person ever,
Wow.
ever.
It's big, bro. I can relate on a lot of levels. And since we're having the transparency, I think it helps to be open and honest. And when I look back, I've had a lot of these roadblocks in myself and being an avid reader of Napoleon Hill, he kind of dives into these sectors of, the understanding of, hey man, how you build and really let's just take this down to the basics. Everyone knows the most important thing is the foundation. We all know how you build upon your foundation is everything. Well, you can easily say that our foundation as human beings is the care and nurture and the love that we receive and the information that we download from those ages that you're talking about. As a kid, you're growing up. I mean, you are building your understanding of the world, of, of emotions, of everything And the leaders of your family or whoever, teach you how to do this is really how you base a lot of your opinions and how you base a lot of your beliefs, because that's the foundation in which you were built upon. I had a very huge struggle. Always had anxiety when I was a kid. Always had just, I was just anxious all the time. And, God loved my mother. But my mom, single mom, she was kicking and screaming and trying to make her way into the world, right? Trying to be successful, trying to break past this social
Heredity, yeah.
heredity
Yeah, social
that
heredity, yeah.
her parents taught her. And when I look at my mom and I see, wow, look at where you came from the social heredity that you were brought on. And then now, I see where I'm at and I'm like, wait, I remember I had that moment at 26 or 27. The anxiety kind of just
Mhm.
clicked because I was living from 0 to 26 in this, well, we got to figure out how are we going to make money? How are we going to do this? Am I going to be accepted in here? Am I going to do this? What's going to happen in the future? Am I going to run out? Am I not going to have enough money? Am I not going to have enough food? All of these what ifs bouncing around all over the place because my social heredity was always built on, well, we don't know what's happening because we're always in a survival mindset.
Mhm.
And when I finally realized, wait, hold on, I don't have to adapt in this. I can recognize where it comes from, identify it, and then learn a solution for myself, at least, to process it in a healthy way. Now I don't have those anxieties. I'm
Mhm.
32 coming up on. I mean, I don't have those, oh my gosh, like what's going to now I understand where that comes from. But again, from 0 to 26, 27, man, Ross Rawson was an anxious mess
Mhm.
all the time. And I didn't get it. I couldn't understand. And it was so frustrating because everyone would say to you, similar to business, hey man, just relax and take a deep breath. Come on. There's nothing to be anxious about. Oh, hey man, why are you feeling like that? Come on, like this is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Or I'm sure in our own space, like, come on, man, just show up and go to work. Get there by 6, hit the phone, start dialing, set the appointments, do your to-do list, and call it a day. Now, although it's easy on the front end to say all these things, and like you said, buy all the courses, go to all the seminars, spend thousands of dollars, unless we really go back and analyze, hey, why am I feeling this way? Why don't I have this ambition in my job? Or okay, what were the things I was downloading in my belief system for my foundation of growing up?
Mhm.
And hey, I got good news. Like, yeah, we can look back sometimes and maybe beat ourselves up over the past, or maybe be like, oh man, I wish it would have been different and all that. We can't change that.
Mhm.
We can't. But what we can do is, like you're saying, is go through like you're going through a fine comb, man. You're going through every layer. You're not skipping a beat anymore because you're at an emotional understanding now, Chris, that's giving you the ability to actually see things for what they are rather than the way that you perceived them.
Mhm.
Right. And this truth is coming to you, and you're like, wait, I actually can have the tools and can have the things to be the best version of Chris today. But now I have to really go through and maybe have these uncomfortable conversations with myself and go deep where maybe I've kind of turned the door and not wanted to open it. Right. And like I said, the good news is that you can break through. You
Yeah.
can break through. You can break through. If you're not ambitious enough, you can break through. If you're not relentless enough, you can break through. If you don't know how to show up on time, you can break through. If you're struggling with something, you can break through. However, and I think a key part of this, which I hear you say, and what I found that helped me break through, is to look at it dead in its eyes. Look at it, the past, look at the truth for what it really is rather than the way that I perceived it. And that is where I found my breakthrough with that. And
Yeah.
I'm still finding breakthrough,
Oh,
right? Like we
100%.
just talked about this, man. Like, there's not anybody in my family right now that I could call to say, hey, Uncle Joe, Aunt Susie, what, or whoever, I'm struggling with this in my business. How do I get to X, Y, and Z? Or how do I do this, this, and this? Or how do I achieve this? Or I have this dream, but I want to come. There's not really anybody in my, social heredity that can give me that information, right?
Yeah.
And it can seem sometimes frustrating, sometimes like discouraging, and then we rest back on our laurels and we never achieve what we totally could. And yeah, man, it's a
That's
deep,
interesting.
it's a deep, you know?
Well, that's like this is a place that people don't want to go to, truthfully,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes it's easier just to brush under the rug
Yeah.
and not accept it, right? But then how much do you have that regret? I mean, the pain of regret is far more superior than the pain suffering of the actual process.
Hmm.
Process that it takes to go through this and, like you said, dig deep in, pull the skeletons out of your closet, understand what is your social identity. What were you exposed to as a child in your environment that has now made you who you are today? You were exposed in an environment where everybody was running around rancidly crazy, chaotic, trying to live in survival mode, scrambling.
Hmm.
And so thus your exposure to that environment to that has now led you to a level of anxiety. Of course it did. You lived in an anxious world and environment when you were a kid, and now you grew up to be anxious. Understandably, yes.
Hmm.
For you not to be anxious, I think something's wrong.
Right.
Right. And everybody is in the same boat.
Yeah.
Why are some people more successful? Well, like I said, I always love my friend Brent Gove, which talk about him. The guy is most relentless. You guys don't know who Brent Gove is. He's an amazing 25-year realtor in this business. Remax #1 top, Keller Williams #1 top. Now he's at EXP. He's built an amazing organization of over 19,000 agents and brokers all over the country, the world. And he has reached levels that most people are trying to aspire to. But we look at Brent, everybody does, and tries to figure out, man, why are you so relentless? What is it about you that makes you so successful, what you do? And it goes back to, again, what his social heredity was. Brent was exposed to his family of years and decades and centuries of doing real estate, which ultimately was derived and focused around just pound and ground, man. You go for it. His parents are relentless. They had to. That's what real
Yep.
estate is. You work, you work, you work, you work, you work. His environment he was around was completely about work, 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 relentless, never give up, go, 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 struggle, struggle hard, push, 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 go, go, go. Okay. Now, you know why Brent now in his ages that he is now, his life is continue that on because that is his social, that was what he was exposed to. So you got to understand that. First, go back and look at what you were exposed to in your environment growing up as a child.
Hmm.
That is exactly who you're going to be today, period. But you're right. There is good news. The good news is you can change it.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
The bad news is it's a fucking lot of work. This
It
shit
is
is not easy.
no.
It's like saying I'm going to go to the gym and lose 400 pounds when you're like 5, right? This
Yep.
is not an easy feat. So I'm not going to pretend for 1 second that literally this is going to be an easy task by any means. Okay.
Yep.
It's going to be a process. And like we were saying earlier, though, it's progress, not perfection. I'm even fitting that mold.
Mm.
I go up sometimes 4 steps. Like you said, people look at it from that side. Oh my God, Chris is amazing, all that stuff. Yeah, great. I pat myself on the back. Yeah, great. But the truth is, I was not where I wanted to be at. And I'm still not where I want to be at today. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful that I'm not where I used to be.
Yep.
So I am on a progress and a trajectory moving forward. I am not perfect. I fail. I fail. I fail. And then I get back up and I do it again. And I figure out where I messed up. And I figure out where I fell short. But I never could really articulate what was the real core behind me not finishing this fucking gate. Why? And now this really kind of falls into play in understanding this because this is now where I'm at. I get it now. My social heredity, what programmed me to be where I'm today. So now I'm on a mission of reprogramming. That is the key. What is now in exposing me to be where I want to be at in my life? What do I got to do to expose myself to the environment that I want to be at? So now it's like, who is your 5, right? Mm-hmm. What is the things you're allowing yourself to be around? Positivity, upbeat, forward thinkers, big thinkers, millionaires, billionaires, everybody who's entrepreneurial mindset, who has the tenacity, the relentless, the behaviors that I want to have. I've surrounded myself by that people, first off. And then I have to go work on myself. I got to start lifting the hood up and start working on things. And that's the personal development side. Yeah. What are you doing? I challenge everybody today, right now that's listening. What are you doing today? And be honest with yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only one you're cheating is yourself. You can lie all day long. But the biggest liar in your life is the person in the mirror. That's the biggest liar. Because we lie to ourselves every day.
That's right.
Every day. So I challenge you to ask yourself, what are you doing differently right now today that's just literally shaking you in the boots, that's making you do something completely unorthodox outside of your comfort zone, that's shaking it up like it has to be something that shakes you up.
Come on.
And that's what did like the 75 hard for me. It's shaking me up because
Oh
it's
yeah.
creating this whole level of commitment, right? That I didn't know I would ever do. So here I am now. And
Yeah.
now it's opened up this Pandora box for multiple opportunities to really start like, oh, well, I was working on the transmission, but I realized your power steering box is out. We should fix that too. Oh, I realized your cylinder head on number 8 out and your spark plugs are fouled, and we probably should raise your spark plug wires. Oh, those are out too. Oh, we should clean
Yeah.
your filter, right? All these things I'm identifying because I lifted the hood up and worked on one thing is now looking at the rest of the thing.
Yeah. It's good.
Complete overhaul. A complete overhaul is what I need to do.
And I heard something that someone said that when you're in this process in life, it's sometimes like a GPS. Okay. You're making the wrong turn on the wrong road and it's recalculating route, recalculating route, recalculating route. And the thing that I find that we get so frustrated in is we don't see the instant result,
Mhm.
but oftentimes we've recalculated the route so far.
Shoot, this internet. Hope I didn't lose you, Ross. Dang it. Sorry, people who are listening out in the podcast world, having technical difficulties right now. My internet has taken kind of a glitch here, which this is world life problems here. Shoot, Ross. Okay.
We're there.
Oh, there we go. We're
Okay,
back.
cool.
Sorry for that.
No. But yeah, it's that recalculating route, and we can get so frustrated because we want to be to our destination so much faster. But because we've taken maybe it's not even the wrong turn, but maybe it's not the right turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we're constantly going off course, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? You got that engine light on, and you're ignoring it, right? And you're just filling up the oil, filling it up with gas, filling it up with oil, but eventually that car is going to go, dude, no, I need, like you said, new spark plugs. I got a busted piston in here or whatever it is, that flat tire. You might have a spare, but the spare isn't going to operate like a normal tire, right? And so, and that's how it can feel sometimes. Your life is literally under construction.
Yep.
And one of the best analogies I had, I was actually driving down the road, going through a really hard time in my life years ago. And I was in this season very similar to what you're talking about. And I think we're always in this season of progression and learning about ourselves. But I was so frustrated. And, universe, God, whatever you want to believe in, really pressed upon my heart that, when you're going down that 4-lane highway and they busted up all the roads, okay, and they're putting in this new, beautiful paved highway. Well, they typically take like 3 of the lanes and put it down to 1 lane. And you're taking the same path you took to work every single day, but now it's taking you longer and you have to sit and wait. Now, that eventually when they put the new road in, it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be, oh my gosh, so much better. And everyone's going to enjoy it. But that process of reconstruction can be so frustrating, even to the person that you're just sitting in traffic or you're just sitting waiting for all these things to connect and they're not connecting. And you're like, dang it. And we fall back sometimes. We have to remind ourselves, and what was taught to me is this, okay, who's the manager over this project? And I look at those like on the road, right? I look at those as, like you said, who are the people that I'm hanging out with? Who are the people that are building me up? Okay. What are the tools and resources that we're going to do to build this road back better? Right? What does that look like? Okay, well, this is the information I'm digesting. This is the stuff that I'm putting in, right? And then who are the workers that are going to help jump in with me in my life and or myself to put in the effort to build the road? I got the manager, I got the tools and resources. Now I need the crew to go at this thing so that way my life can be on a clean road. But we fall back because we're just, again, sitting in that 1 lane, complaining that there's traffic and this road's not finished. But really, we need to get out of the car and we need to start working. Like you said, we need to start asking ourselves, who's the manager? Who's my tools and resources? And who's putting in this work with me? Am I going to put in the work to build the road? Am I going to actually do it? And if you do, guess what? You're going to be driving down that 4-lane highway in a couple months. That boy's going to be all open lanes and you're going to be smiling like, dang, I put in that work. It all worked out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess also looking forward to that, you got to look at the bigger picture, right? We're looking at the moment. The moment is we're inconvenienced. The moment is that we're stuck. The moment is, well, I could sit here in despair, angry, animosity, pissed off, or I can get out and do something about it and help. Or just, you got to think in a better place in your mind. Like, okay, future pace yourself out that you're right. Like you mentioned, in the next probably 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to have 4 lanes here. They're going to be beautifully paved. We're going to have the best, smoothest ride to work ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's about anticipating the end, understanding to respect the end. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing the journey along the way.
Yeah,
Right. You can never really respect the destination if you don't appreciate the journey.
that's right.
So it's key. But those are all plays out in life that we're doing right now. And I think everybody has ultimately different paths and different directions and different strengths, different weaknesses. And you got to figure out what yours is. I know what mine is right now. And I'm realizing that. And wow, it's definitely, it's mind opening because I'm like, wow, I'm really, really, really coming to this point in my life where every morning I have to do my ways of reconditioning my mind.
Mm.
It's not like I do it once and I'm good. I have to do it consistently again because this is about progress, not perfection. And the progress is that I'm going to go 4 steps and probably go back 2. I'm going to go 6 steps and probably come back 3. I'm going to do some good stuff and I'm going to do some dumb shit along the way and be like, oh crap, did I screw that up royally? And boy, did I go back to my old ways again, damn it. Boy. You might not even notice it at the moment, but then you
Mm-hmm.
go back and you get to that point where you move forward 3 steps, and then you go back and reflect and realize, God, I really effed that up.
Yeah.
God, I really showed up in a way in which I'm really not showing up again. And that's perfectly human and normal. The key is not about what happens in between the journey. The key is actually learn, move forward, progress, and keep going forward and getting better and better, right? We talked about earlier, if you can get better 1% every day, then ultimately within a week, you're 7% better by the end of next week. So
Come
that's
on.
about it. Every day, you're only in competition with yourself,
That's right.
right? Nobody else. You shouldn't give 2 shits about anybody else, what they think, what their opinion of you is at all. Judgment is a one-way street. You let them judge all they want. That's usually a projection issue on them anyway. So let it be what it
Mm-hmm.
is. This is about you, your story, your life, your family, your future, your legacy. And if you are not focused on that, then you're already screwed.
Yeah.
Just being honest. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and I think if we can take away a lot of that in this message, and I think there's another key thing that really sticks out to me is that, hey, you can be super successful and you can have all the things, but yet you can also still struggle with these things. And that's
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
It's okay. Right. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if you're a producer or if you're not a producer or if you're trying to become a producer or if you've already hit all these milestones to know that, hey, you know what? There's some things I need to work on here. And, I'm not doing the best I could. Okay. Well, why? And to have these real conversations with yourself, it's healthy.
Mhm.
It's healthy, and that's when you're actually going to get to the solutions.
So here's the irony. I'll throw this wrench in the mix. You talked about being a top producer and doing all these things, and you realize that, okay, even though I'm being a top producer, like, okay, maybe I don't need this. Well, here's what. In any situation in life, to be a top producer, you had to work really hard. We all know that. There's no
Yeah.
bullshit in that. You didn't just miraculously become a top producer overnight. You
Yeah.
worked your ass off. You worked your ass off. You worked your ass off. You worked your ass off. Something was sacrificed, though. I promise you that. Something that you maybe didn't even want to admit, but you reached your level of success as a quote unquote top producer. You've reached the pinnacle. You've made
Mhm.
it. You're successful. So I'm no longer in need of any of this kind of conversation. Well, guess what? In the process, you sacrificed your health. You sacrificed your family. You sacrificed your relationships. You
Mhm.
sacrificed yourself in the whole process. So guess what you need to work on now?
Yeah.
In order for you to even appreciate that money you're making or appreciate that level of success you reached, you better go back and mend those relationships that you really put off.
Mhm.
The kids who don't even know you, who probably don't even care to be around you. That's true.
Mm.
Your significant other who probably doesn't want anything to do with you because you guys have grown apart.
Mm.
Your health because it's gotten so bad because the whole entire time you ate crappy, you slept horribly, you drank too much, you're overweight, high cholesterol, whatever.
Yeah.
You paid no attention to those areas in your life to become that top producer. Stop lying to yourself. Stop acting like your ego is bigger than you because it's not about you. It's bigger than you. Right.
It's good.
So
Well,
this is for everybody.
exactly. And we sometimes we don't want to put in the workout because the payoff that we think we want, we live out of fear sometimes, right? And what I mean by that is, yeah, Chris, oh, this is great. I hear that I need to work on myself. I hear that, I've been a top producer and yeah, I sacrificed my family. But Chris, if I take all the time that I'm putting in my top producing activities and I focus on all these things over here, then, my marriage isn't going to get better if I don't have as much money because I'm spending hours a day on, learning about myself and all these things, right? There's these limited beliefs attached to this. And honestly, sometimes they cause us to avoid taking the look at this because we don't think the input into this effort is going to get us the result in what we're currently already doing, right? Like, oh, well, why do I want to spend more time learning about myself if I'm not going to make more money doing that? But that's not the truth, right? That's not the truth. But I know there's people listening that are thinking that because I've done that. Well, yeah, my wife, oh, she wants to spend more time with me and do this, but honey, we'll do that later. I need to go out and do this, and this, because this is the thing that we both wanted and yada, yada, yada. But that only matters for so long because once again, you're going to come up against that roadblock and you're going to go, dang it. I need to focus on this stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're going to look back one day and what are your regrets going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be that I spent more money or spent more time doing lead generation and getting more deals to add to my top producer list, to add to my units, to add to my GCI, to add to my revenue? Or man, I wish I would have spent a little more time with my wife, my husband, my kids, my family, myself. I mean, there's a double-edged sword there. And it's only for you. This is a self-realization piece by anybody. So those listening, I'm in no way, shape, or form telling anybody that you got to do what you got to do. This is your life. This is your choice. This is your goals. It's yours. Agreed. You own it. You own that shit. That's for you. But everything is a conversation when you're on your deathbed. And that conversation comes back to what is the most important thing that you meant in your life to you.
Come on.
And I'm not saying it's not money because I love money too. Don't even pretend 1 second I'm not talking about that. I work my ass off. I want to work my ass off because there's goals I want to reach too. And there's things I've sacrificed in my life for myself, relationships in the past, a lot of things, my kids. Absolutely. I'm not immune to that at all. But I'm just looking at this now in my life where I'm at, and I'm realizing that this is more now of an opportunity to understand why I'm where I'm at, understand maybe why, not maybe why, it is why I am not reaching my benchmarks. It is why I am not going to the place I need. It is why I'm not finishing the steps I need to finish to get where I'm at. That is why. Because my social heredity was not influenced and exposed in such a manner in which that provided me that balance.
Come on.
That's what I needed in my life. And now I have to program that social heredity into me now at my age. And that, again, is a lot of work. That probably be another chapter, another podcast. But yes, it's extensive. I have layouts. I have extreme system. We can do all that. And it can be work. It's a process. It's step by step. But the real truth is it's possible. So don't deny yourself this opportunity. Don't think you're too old to change. Don't think it's too late to make change in your life. It's never too late. Never.
That's right.
You always have time.
Because you want to love yourself at the top, right? We're all striving to get to the top, but you also want to love yourself when you get there, right?
I think it's all about loving yourself. I mean, all of this is about loving yourself.
Yeah.
100%. Everything boils back down and goes right back focused to the fact of how much do you love yourself? And I don't mean this in a non-derogatory, egotistical, selfish way. I mean, this is the real way in which you should honor and love and respect and like yourself more than anything else, because you can only be the best version of yourself to anybody and everybody if you are taking care of yourself and loving yourself first, period.
1000%.
In the discussion. There's no other discussion around that. If you do not take care of your boat, you can no longer take any guests on it.
That's right. That's right.
You've got to maintain it. So this is that's another whole kind of conversation though, because a lot of people are very controversial on that. A lot of people don't understand boundaries. A lot of people don't understand self-love. A lot of people don't understand those areas in which we should really be focused on not letting anybody or anything get into our life that is going to hinder or destroy our self-respect, our self and emotional well-being. That is it, period.
Facts.
It's facts. And some people who are exposed to that, who don't understand it, more often than not, are hurt by it. And they wonder why they're still sitting in their misery and wonder why they haven't advanced in life because of that very thing. So I can rant and rave about this all day long, Ross and the third. You know that, buddy.
Hey, man, I love this stuff, though, because let's face it, this is the stuff that matters, though.
Oh, it does.
This is the stuff that matters, because at the end of the day, when you rest your head on that pillow, man, and all these things come to the forefront of your brain, and you're not getting rest there, and then you're getting in the world, and then you're not feeling rest in what you're doing, and then you're going and going and going and going and going and going and going. I mean, eventually you burn out, and you're like, man, why am I tired?
Yeah.
And really, this is the nuts and bolts, man. This is it.
this is it. This is the beginning, the end, and all. It really is. This is the beginning and the end. And it, like I've always said, it starts with you, ends with you. And it depends on how deep you really want to go with this. It depends on how bad you really want to reach your goals. It depends on how bad you really want to reach your dreams and reach levels of success that you want to reach and which you deserve. Yes, I said it. You deserve this. You must tell yourself that every day. Because a lot of people, I myself, again, my social heredity did not allow me to believe I deserve this stuff. I did not believe that I deserve wealth, finances, riches, success. That was not my social heredity benchmark. That was not what I was exposed to in my life as a child. And yet here I am
deep.
struggling. So I look at this, and I'm not meaning to say this with even like a brass of ego or like toot my horn, but truth is I have managed to reach a lot of levels of plateaus in my life. Yes. Even with the fact that I was not exposed to a social heredity that was circled around that kind of environment. So that means that those who have been, or even have an inkling of it, you have a fighting chance. Don't think you don't. You actually have an upper hand on me because you actually have a starting point of a belief system inside of you already that you know you deserve this because it was your environment that you were exposed to as a child in your youth that you now have carried on into your adult life. This is super impactful.
Let's go.
It is, but
I love it, man.
I love it, man. I always love talking the basics and the specifics with you, my friend, getting into the knee deeps and understanding. I believe like yourself, this is it. This is the beginning. Mindset to me, understanding why you do what you do, understanding where it comes from, understanding the core belief system, all this stuff is true. Because if we can't figure that out, all the other surface stuff that we're being taught and trained, the systems, the models, the coaching, it means absolutely shit. It does. It means nothing.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Yeah.
If you can't fix the bottom of the barrel, the beginning. So,
and if you're looking for a podcast that's going to give it to you real and authentic, and it's just going to be, you know, with the most pursuit of trying to give you the facts, then you came to the right show.
Absolutely. We hope this was of value to you guys out there. We appreciate all the people that are listening. Our audience continue to grow every week. Ross, always a pleasure to have this co-hosting with you. And I look forward again to next week, our episode number 21. We're going to keep this show rolling, man.
Let's
go. Keep bringing some value to everybody. Hopefully, again, out there, it was valuable to you guys today. Have an amazing week, and we love you guys all.
See ya.